the one who is real, you have love for it. The one who has helped you to open the eyes, you will have gratitude, love, reverence and regard for that person. I love Osho, but I don't follow him. I can walk my own. Pardon?
What does that mean?
I don't call myself an Oshoite. I don't call myself that I am the follower of Osho. I am a lover of Osho. Because I understand Osho more than any of his disciples. I understand Jesus more than any of the Christians. This is your understanding. And that love is not an attachment, not a followership. That love is something different. Where you feel one with him. That oneness is something different. This is possible, I understand. Don't degrade yourself. There is nothing more in any Buddha and nothing less in any of the disciples. I understand this. Life has given you equally the same possibilities there. We degrade ourselves that we are, so many generations, how many lives that I have to take. After 7 lives, each life I have to open one chakra, one body. It is all nonsense.
It is covered with us and with you it is open. We have
I
to
was-
uncover, and you have uncovered. We are in the process.
A good consolation. A good consolation. If it is not happening this moment, you just take it for, in writing from me, that it is not going to happen any moment. Understand this. If you are not enlightened now at this moment, then don't wait for the next moment that you are going to be enlightened. Because each moment is going to be the same. Wake up now. Understand now. This is all mind's game. Just puts you into some consolation, some postponement to tomorrow, next life. This is all mind's game. Just look why I am unhappy today, why I am unenlightened today, why I am miserable today. Look there. Because today is the reality. There is no other day. If I have to take care of today and understand, then tomorrow will be the same. If I am happy now, I know how to be happy now. Tomorrow I am going to be happy.
It should be a happening, no? Yeah, I should be overwhelmed.
But there is each moment it is happening. Each moment it is happening. Your mind wants to experience it. This is the problem. And that cannot be experienced. It is you. It is your natural state. When it happens, it just expresses into some ecstasy, into some dance, into some singing.
But it has happened 4 times and terrible. And I was horrible afraid.
But that is not actually happening. It is mind-created thing. Otherwise, it would not go. It would not go. No, it was mind-created ecstasy.
No, it really was. I was completely gone. I was terribly afraid. It was inhuman.
Now, if I help you, if it has happened as you describing, if it has happened and gone,
Also was still in life.
if it has gone, I tell you, just mind has a habit of creating a desire of repeating the same experience again, isn't it? Now, if you accept this, that it is not happening, accept it that it is not happening and stay with this acceptance that it is not happening. And you see that your demand, your desire to happen is the obstruction there.
Then I asked Osho what this is, because I was breathing, so it happened. It went away because I thought my head will explode or something will happen. I will die or like this. and then he had wrote back, had Asya wrote right back that I should do something more technical in my body because I was time it will not be a hurricane, but it will be a merging. And since then I
So
I
you
can-
are
I can
waiting
merge.
for it.
Hmm?
You are waiting for it.
No, the merging is happening. There is no problem in this. But I still am in darkness, completely darkness.
But that is what I am saying, that this is natural, accept it. It is natural, accept it. And stay with this acceptance, and you will see that you are aware of it. Now you are identified with it. You aware of it, that's all. We have a mind which is going to be there, permanently there. Understand this. Osho had also the mind. Buddha also has a mind. Everybody has a mind. Everybody has a dark side.
I love the mind.
Yes. Then love the illusions. Love the desire. Love this demand. Love this. Don't hate it. You are somewhere hating it. That I should be free from it. Isn't it? Love it. Say yes to it. Then you will understand a transformation starts happening by itself. Stay with it. Change your attitude and start saying yes to it. If it is painful, it is frustrating, it is tension, say yes to the tension also. This is mind's reactions, which is natural. Mind desiring, nature also is natural. Mind's non-acceptance, nature also is natural. It is going to create somewhere a non-acceptance immediately. It is natural. Just look at it and don't do anything about it. And then it will become quiet. Don't get identified with it by doing something to that part which itself is the mind. I hope I make it clear. Because this is a situation when somebody is really passing through the process. This is a situation. And there, if you have no right master to make you understand, then you will be lost.
This is therefore I want
And this is what I call this is the dark night of the mind. It is not dark night of the soul. It is the dark night of the mind. It is so frustrating, so difficult, so much reacting. But again I tell you that this is natural. This is natural. Accept it. And this made me free from this. This understanding which my Sufi master gave me, which I was passing through the same phase. And then he says, this is natural. Say yes to it. Accept yourself as you are. In any situation, inside and outside. Just say yes. And slowly, slowly with this acceptance, a relaxation started happening. With same mind, with same frustration, a relaxation started happening. And something started changing. A transformation by itself started happening. Without any effort, without doing any meditations or anything. Just becoming.
without.
No bang, nothing. It was so easy delivery. It was not a cesarean.
So there is hope.
You will not even know that how you woke up. It's so relaxing, slowly, slowly. This is our Sufi way. Very soft and easy way. I hope I make it clear.
Yeah, but I still think of universe, and I still think that humankind is a miscreation, a miscreature, not creation, because I don't believe in any creator.
If there is no creator, then there is no creation. This is all happening.
A creature.
It's a kind of expression. But it is not actually what you are reacting as a miscreation, a miscreature or whatever you call it. It's your reaction to something which you expected that this should be right and this is wrong.
But look at what humanity is doing to this.
Drop all these comparisons. Look at as if it is all happening. The violence, the pain, the suffering, it is all part of the happening. Don't project your judgments.
I have the mind to see, no?
You have a mind to see, but don't get identified with these judgments. The mind has a nature of creating judgments, but don't get identified and say this is your opinion. You see this way, that's all. And you feel this way. It's not that I don't feel the pain when I see the violence. I feel the pain, that's all. But I am not against violence. It's happening. Why it is happening, who knows? I don't know anything. Why should I bother unless I am asked to bother about it? Why should I bother?
Looking, for instance, imagine to look from above and see this humanity like lies in the fruit of the planet, you know? like lies, like animals.
Even not lies, even not. We have no importance at all into this existence if you really look from that. That's why I'm saying that you don't know even what is happening to this ants world there. You know, they may be fighting, there is violence happening, you are not concerned about it.
I am concerned about that. Very much so.
Actually, we do not know what is the whole purpose, why we are here. We do not know it.
We can ask, and this
Why
is
should you?
this is the
You
whole
are not
reason
responsible
we
for
ask
it.
and we never get an answer.
And nobody has an answer. Nobody has got the answer. Provided there is someone who is chosen to take care of the situation, he is doing it without any ego. He is just doing it. That's all. But if you are not chosen to be a medium, forget about it. But we unnecessarily think of something where you are not concerned about. See, you are not going to help anyone. You are not going to change anything. Why do you bother about it? You look to the ants world and you just feel that the ants are fighting. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You are just looking it, that's all. But the pain that you feel is natural there, that's all. But then what can you do about it?
We are helpless and stupid
And this is the state. If you are trying to help, then you feel helpless. But if you understand that it is the way it is happening, there is no helpless feeling also. This sounds little more, I don't know how to say it.
It's hard.
Hard, yeah. You know. But it's beautiful.
Not one while one is in.
We are not here to save the world, understand? There is no savior. We are not here to save this world. And we are all trying to be saviors, you know. As if you are the person who is chosen to be helping this humanity or bring the peace is all nonsense. There has never been a peace. It was always a balance between the negative and positive energies. We have lost the balance, then life knows how to bring the balance. And life knows how to choose the people who will be used for bringing the balance, that's all. If you are chosen, you will be given that capacity, ability and the clarity, the intellectual understanding of that. If you are chosen to be. If you are not, then enjoy. Beautiful movie. You are just watching a movie, you are watching this movie. What can you do if the villain is raping this heroine? You just watch. You cannot jump into the TV box and just... you just watch it. Provided you are a character into this drama, then it's fine, you know. I am enjoying it. I really tell you, I am enjoying this movie. It's a beautiful movie. And somewhere I have to play my character. I play my character. That's all.
It's like what Shakespeare said.
Pardon?
What Shakespeare said, that
Yeah.
life is a stage and we're just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
players.
Shiva Puri, 140 years old in Nepal, he was sitting on. And his samadhi is even
Uh-huh.
like this.
This is our Indian tradition. So anybody has any confusion, please share with me. Like she is sharing. Nice. I like it. Don't be quiet, listener. We are sitting here to share. I am not a master here teaching you something. I am just sharing.
What is really nice is confirmation of going with the flow. What happens, happens. Even the thoughts.
Provided the life gives you a push or the inside to do something about it, do it. There you don't be a silent observer. If there is a strong push inside to deal with the situation, jump into it without thinking about the consequences. Jump into it. You don't then, and that is the fearless state which comes inside if you have the clear understanding of it. That is, there is no fear. I go to Israel, I go to Muslim countries, I jump there. I talk what I understand. And there is a lot of what you call shouting and screaming and try to attack. So what? But there is no fear. There is no fear. Why should I be afraid of?
But you risk your life.
Who
You
cares?
risk your life.
There is nothing that I am attached to life. If I am happy and relaxed now, for next moment, I don't care. I don't care what is going to be the next moment. If this moment is what I am delivering, the way it is flowing through me, is enough, is totally fulfilling. See. And that's the power, that's the force that is there. You see. And that force is not the force of anger, but force of clarity. If the whole world goes against you, even what is your clarity is your clarity. Your truth is your truth. And that truth is the truth. There is no other truth than this truth.
Some people attract negativeness to themselves, and some they get raped, or they get mugged, or they get this, or they get that. And other people, the same circumstance, nothing happens to them. How is it that some people attract so much negative things to happen to them, and other people?
Basically, your inner energy flow creates the way you respond to the life outside. If you have a constant negative approach towards life, that means all the time into the non-acceptance with the life, fight with life, constantly struggling with life, trying to change, trying to improve, trying to control. This is creating somewhere a negative energy force inside you. Negative is not the way we translate it. You see. Negative is not something which we say that we are all the time into the wrong side of the situation there. Negative also is a kind of energy. Like there is a natural force of energy and there is a frictional energy. Like electricity is an energy which is born out of friction. The flow of the river, there is a force, there is an energy in the river. When you create a dam on the river and then divert the whole flow and creates a friction, the frictional energy is the electricity. The mind's food is the electricity, that is the frictional energy that is created in friction with the life, in friction with the natural flow of life. The more you are in harmony with life, you get a lot of natural energy which is the positive energy. Which is the positive energy. The natural flow, the natural energy is the positive energy. The frictional energy which is born out of negation, fight, friction with life, that is another energy which is created which makes the mind strong to fight. So the people who are with the negative energy, whose minds are strong, always attracts the negative energy.
So that person going to Israel would be in the place to be killed, whereas another person with a different flow of energy will not.
So now this energy, frictional energy, creates all this nature of mind, the anger, the jealousy. All this is the expression of the negative energy which is accumulated into this point which is mind. So when you have a lot of negative energy accumulated, how does it express through the anger? All this is expressed, and this anger takes you to anything. You see.
Because like some people, when they go on an airplane, the airplane gets, falls down, they get killed. Other people were going to be on that flight, but for whatever reason they changed the date, they didn't arrive on time, and they didn't get on that flight, and they lived.
So this is
What
like
it-
our own judgment or definition after this event or this plane crash happens. The people who change their dates or people who change their plan think that they have been saved by the destiny, and these people who were in the plane were killed by the destiny. But daily there are a lot of people who change their dates and the plane doesn't crash. Lot of people who miss their plane and the plane reaches in time. Only when we see these events, then the plane crash and the people who escape from that flight through any reason, it's all accidental. There is no,
So you believe that things happen accidentally? that-
yes, it's a part of happening. It's a part of happening. There is something gone wrong mechanically into the plane and the plane crashed. So it is not a destiny of plane or somebody who is sitting in the plane. It is something which is mechanically fault, which is creating some kind of disaster, that's all.
So
Why do you put into a certain way that you want? Because the mind cannot justify it. For justifying the mind or consoling the mind, we have a lot of answers. There are so many things which we have no answer. There are a lot of consoling answers given by the religion, given by the culture, where the mind is quiet. Otherwise, mind cannot understand this phenomena. Like the child is asking me a question and I know that the child cannot understand my answer, so I give some answer to satisfy the child's mind. So that is not the right answer, but to satisfy the child's mind, I give some wrong answer. If my dog died and my grandson was asking what happened to the dog, what is death, I said the dog has gone to the God's house in the heaven.
Would you say that in this context, destiny and karma is the same?
Destiny is the destination decided by the life where you are going to move in the path. This life is not an accident. This creation of this body is not an accident. There is a greater purpose. We do not know this greater purpose, which is the mystery. We have no idea.
I don't believe it. But anyway.
There is a greater purpose. Otherwise, why should it go on, you see? So there is somewhere a purpose in concern with the greater purpose, and there is an individual purpose just based on the physical needs of the body. You see,
Karma,
karma is just a consolation.
isn't it?
Karma is, what I believe as a karma theory is the whole expression of life is working and functioning based on certain natural laws. Certain natural laws. If you understand the natural law and remain in harmony with the law, you don't break the law, you don't get the punishment. So when you break the law, you get the punishment. Even if you are ignorant about the law and you break the law, you are getting the punishment. So this punishment is according to the breaking of the law with your ignorance, and you get the punishment. If you remain in harmony with this, understand this, if you know the nature of fire, that it burns, and it gives you also heat, and it gives you light. If you understand, then you don't put your hand into the fire and you don't get yourself burned. But if you put your hand because you don't know the nature of fire, and if you get burned, you say that it is your destiny or karma.
It is ignorance.
Ignorance. If you understand the nature of fire, you can cook your food on the fire. Very simple. So you understand the law, and the science is trying to understand the law behind, and that's why we are getting the benefit of all this. Yes?
Because, I mean, I'm talking about me because I came to you because of this. So I don't believe in anything. I don't have no trust, no confidence, no nothing, no belief, no nothing, not even in a creator. But I believe in a certain equilibrium in the universe.
Right. But that should not be a belief. You know it. You should know it.
And I mean, what do you want to say?
I know it. Say I know it. Don't say I believe it. If you believe it, you are believing somebody is knowing. Because Osho said you believe.
No, I have not read it. It came.
If you know it,
It came, so I know.
then it becomes your natural way of life.
Okay. Yeah.
See,
And
your
everything
knowing
is
reflects
going
your...
to be in equilibrium.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the only thing for me.
So, the whole existence is functioning with this equilibrium and the balance. See, if you lose the balance, we do not understand the nature of body, and if we break the law, then we get the punishment which is disease.
Thank you. So you confirm this.
This is the whole understanding. That is the whole understanding, that you know it. It is not that Osho said it or Buddha said it, but I know it. And this knowing of remaining into the balance, this is what I call the acceptance. Acceptance brings the balance. Because the imbalance is come from the non-acceptance. The moment you non-accept, you disconnect yourself from the balance.
You accept misery and
Try,
stupidity and
try to accept. The moment you have, forget about the outside misery, look inside the misery. Accept your misery inside, and you will see that it comes to the balance. It comes to the balance. This balanced state is a state which is our natural state. This balanced state. I am not talking about bringing the balance. Understand this. Because again that will put you into somewhere the non-acceptance of that. So I am indirectly taking to the balance through the understanding of acceptance. When you understand that there is a nature of life. What is the nature of life? It is changing and moving.
but at the same time you accept the dismay of human being.
Yes, why not? It is a nature of life.
We have got so much power and so much brain and we are dismayed. Nothing. We can't do anything. We understand things and
But at least you can do something with yourself. Why bother about the whole world? Bother about yourself. And if you come to the balance, if you are relaxed inside, your lamp, your flame is kindled. And then through the light, you will be helping the other person to kindle their light. You see, this is how it goes. But I am worried about the whole fire happening there. Yes, what were you asking?
Looking.
no. Petra told me that you went to in war.
What?
Kuku is my friend.
Yeah.
Kuku was coming to my satsang in 1993, 94, 95. He was sitting here and not understanding a single word of English, sitting in front of me, all the time crying, all the time tears were flowing through his eyes. Something was happening to him. And then one day he comes to me and tells me, because he cannot speak English, he brought some friend, he tells me that he is going back to his country. He was here for many years in the ashram, somewhere he understood something. He says, I decided to just quit and I go back to my country. And something clicked in him. This whole message of acceptance, he started living with the acceptance and something transformed. And when he came back again, because he was kicked out from his country, he was imprisoned for...
He went to China.
Yeah. And then he came back again to India. He came back to me. He says, what should I do? I said, go to Goa and stay there. So, we are friends and we share the same joy and happiness and dance.
Because
So, it is not that I go to him or he comes to me. It is just a friendly meeting. I don't go to asking him what is the way to get enlightened.
no.
He is known as Kuku because he is little, a Zen master. He is straight. He has no compassion like Osho or me or he says finish. So that is the way he expresses. This is the way he expresses. It's a beautiful way of expression. I like it. I love it.
Zen is very difficult
Yeah.
for
But this is how life wants to express through him. But I love it. Beautiful man. Very beautiful. But people who go with a desire to understand something, to get something, anywhere you go, you are not going to get anything. That is sure. Stop begging. Stop begging. Enough of the begging. Enough of knocking all the doors. Enough of holding the feet of the master and sitting at the feet of the master. Just wake up and just claim your divinity. You are a part of it. There is nothing wrong anywhere. Say yes to yourself. This is the beginning. That's all. Say yes to yourself. The way I am is fine. Nothing wrong. And nobody is perfect in this world. Understand this. Life is a creation of combination of positive, negative things. Somewhere it is little more positive, little less negative. It's all combination. And that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of life.
Advaita does not exist.
Pardon?
Advaita does not exist.
Advaita is a state. So it is not something that exists. It is the state. When there is no one, that's why it is said Advaita. They did not say that one. When there is no two, that means what? It does not mean that there was one. Otherwise they would have said that there is one. But they did not say that there is one, but they said there is no two. That means when the two disappears, what remains is not one also, nobody there. And that's our natural state. So far as you are seeking, so far as you are trying to become, there is two. The moment this goes, this also goes. So Advaita, no two. But we misunderstand as if there is one. There is one consciousness. I said there is no consciousness. I am that. I define as if it is not actually saying that I am that. There is no that and there is no I. There is only the amness. Just a feel that amness, isness, suchness. How can you say I am that? There is no that. The moment that disappears, the I disappears. Who is there to claim that I am that? So far as you have an idea of that, you still survive. And that is the hindrance. So there is no need of saying also that I am that. But for the sake of expression, Upanishads, Rishis, they said Aham Brahmasmi. But that is not an expression of some experience of it. It is just an expression. Anal Haq. It's an expression. But we misunderstand as if the Aham is different and the Brahman is different. It's not the real truth. It's okay. See, so far as there is a... How can you express it? If you express in a silence, nobody can understand. How to express it? Yeah.
Osho made his meditations like to express it and to play together. And
If you listen also properly, he has said many times that he is asking you to do all the meditations, not because you are going to get enlightened through the meditations, but he wants you to get tired at certain point by doing meditations. So I am adding little more into Osho's understanding that if you are doing 3 meditations in a day, do it 24 hours. So that you will get so fast tired.
Then you drop it.
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
So I am just telling my friends who are with meditations, I said I am not against meditations. Osho was very clear why he is asking to meditations. And he has said many times, it is a cleansing process, it is a tiring process. See. Sometimes you need to, there are different kinds of meditations, like different kinds of painkillers, tranquilizers, purgatives, So according to the doctor's prescriptions or doctor's understanding, either he will give you some painkiller or some purgative to cleanse your stomach or some tranquilizer to pacify your mind. It depends upon what kind of disease you are suffering from. Osho could understand what kind of disease, mental disease, psychological disease you are suffering from. So he used to give some painkiller meditations, some tranquilizer meditations, some purgative meditations. Dynamic, it is a purgative meditation. Purgative means just vomiting. You just vomit out. It's like you take one tablet at night and morning you have so flushing with it. Clean your bowels. So these are different kinds of meditations that Osho prescribed. Some meditations were cleansing meditations. Some meditations were tranquilizing, relaxing meditations. Some meditations were painkiller meditations. So it all depends. But this is not cure. Understand this. When doctor gives you some kind of tablets to treat the immediate effect, and then he has to understand what is the disease, what is the cause of disease, and then the right meditation, the right medicine should be given. The right medicine in the psychological disease is no technique, no method, no meditation, but the understanding. Tasya bheshajam nasti. Upanishad says, Tasya bheshajam nasti. There is no remedy for any psychological disease except the understanding. Understanding means your own knowing. First you collect as a knowledge from the one who has the understanding, and then use the knowledge in connection with life. Experiment in your own life and convert that knowledge into knowing. Knowledge turns into knowing when it passes through your own experience, your own experiments. So do it. Understand something, take the guidelines, take the instructions and use it into your life. And then when you use it into your life, experiment into your life, and when you get your own experience of it, it is your knowing. When you jump into the water, then you know how to swim. But sitting on the beach, you can read books on the swimming. But you have to jump into the water. You have to jump into the water. You have to jump into the life itself. Use all the information. Because our problem is we are not in harmony with life. That is the problem. We are not happy with the life, whether it is inside or whether it is outside. This is the basic problem. Then all the other problems starts, the tension, the frustration, the misery, the suffering, the pain. But the basic problem is I am not in harmony with the life, the way I am, where I am, and what I have. These are the three factors. Basically, if you look to your cause of the suffering or cause of your unhappiness, you will find that you are unhappy because you are not happy with yourself, the way you are. Isn't it? Somewhere you are having some idea of perfection that I should be like this. The next is you are not happy with where you are. You are not happy with the parents where you are born. You are not happy with the family where you are. You are not happy in your country where you are. You are not happy with your religion where you are. Everywhere you are not happy where you are. And you are not happy what you have. All these three factors are creating somewhere a disharmony, a non-acceptance. So I would like to change myself. I would like to change where I am, and I would like to change what I have. The beginning of this desire to change comes from the non-acceptance of what I am, where I am, and what I have. I am sharing the Sufi understanding, very simple understanding, which I met a Sufi master and he gave me this understanding. And this has changed my life. He said, this is the basic cause of your unhappiness. The unhappiness begins with this non-acceptance of 3 points. If you understand that you have no freedom to change yourself, this is very clear. You cannot change yourself. You cannot change your nature. Though you may try whole life. You may suppress, you may forget, but you cannot change. It comes back again and again. So this is very clear that you cannot change yourself. You cannot change the outside situations. You may try for some time, you can suppress it, you can forget it, you can hold it, but then again it comes back again, same way. And same thing happens with what you have. So it is all a part of happening. Understand this with a very clear understanding. And then when you understand and say yes to yourself, say yes to where you are, it is not the understanding of a coward person. This is the understanding of the courageous person. To say yes to yourself needs a lot of courage.
But what you have, you can change.
You cannot change.
I think I'm very, very stupid because I cannot make money. I can never put my money in this life.
So that is what the situation is.
You know.
So that is what I am saying. So you cannot change it.
People who make money, so they can.
So they make money because it is the way life is giving them. You don't make money because this is the way life is not giving you. But this is not the acceptance of a coward person. This is the acceptance of an understanding person, and you relax with your situation. Otherwise, you are all the time into the non-acceptance and creating somewhere a reaction, and that reaction brings you to the unhappiness. So understand the nature of life. You are demanding something against the nature of life. Life is changing and moving every moment, and you are demanding stagnancy, permanency, as if it has to remain same. It cannot be same. The nature of life is this changing and moving.
The person who says, I have not enough money or something like this, then they train themselves and then they get
But
money.
even then, the people who are training themselves, do they get the money?
Sometimes, yes. I've never tried.
Otherwise, if the money is the effect of some effort,
In that case, he are not looking for find himself. He are looking for find some other thing outside, not inside.
Oh, yeah, of course.
This is
But I mean, with money you live also, no?
okay.
yeah, but then life does not deprive you for necessities, Life is not guaranteeing your luxuries, but life will definitely promise your necessities. Luxury is the demand of mind.
Life becomes God now.
Life is the way, the challenges, the situations, the events, the opportunities, what is coming every moment and demanding your response. And that response, if you understand something, it will not deprive you from your day-to-day needs. Understand this. That much of intelligence, even the animals do not sleep without the needs, fulfillment of needs.
This we have trust in life.
We do not have that. We have lost it. That's why we are struggling hard. And where we reach, we just, in the end, we say, okay, whatever your wish, I accept. And that's the acceptance of a coward person. I am saying accept with the understanding. Understand the nature of life. Life is insecure. Life is uncertain. Life is unknown. And we are demanding security. We are demanding certainty. We are demanding known future. Life is not promising. Understand this is the nature of life. Each moment you are dealing with that life which is offering you insecurity, uncertainty, unknown future. And you are demanding something, a guarantee from the life, which is not possible. And the same mind we have, which is demanding security, which is demanding certainty, which is demanding a known future, which is demanding stagnancy and permanency. We have to live with these two exactly opposite situations. Inside me, there is a mind which demands exactly opposite the life's nature. So I have to understand these two factors which is naturally happening. The reaction which is coming into my inner side is the mind which is demanding by its own nature against the nature of life. So I have to accept both. Understand this. Accept the mind who is demanding, who is not accepting, and accept the life with the understanding. This understanding will keep you into the balance. Into the balance. You understand what I am saying? So don't hate the mind. Don't try to change the mind. Understand and accept the mind. It is the nature of mind that it demands security. It doesn't matter. It demands certainty. Doesn't matter. It demands a known future. Doesn't matter. It demands permanency. Doesn't matter. But look at it. Listen to that mind chattering. But don't follow it. That's all. Don't follow it. Be aware of it, that you have a baby inside there. She is crying all the time. It's all the time demanding chocolate. But you know which shop you have to go. Carry it. You cannot throw it away. Understand this. All the enlightened masters do have this mind. They have the same kind of reactions. There is nobody who can be free from the reaction. Understand this. I have the same mind which you have. But I am aware of this mind. You are identified with the mind. Difference is this. You follow the mind. I don't follow the mind. I am aware of the mind's desire. I am aware of the mind's reaction. But I don't act from the reactions. You see. I stayed. And this is what I call the acceptance. This is what I call the acceptance. I accept the way life is happening. I accept the way, the reaction which is happening in the mind. And stay there. Staying there is let go, saburi, acceptance, whatever word you say. Just stay there before you jump to the action. Just stay there. In that staying, a miracle happens from inside, that the consciousness which was identified before gets detached and becomes a witnesser. Before it was jumping as a doer. It wanted to do something. It wanted to jump into action. So the consciousness was identified with that whole area of mind. So it was becoming mind. The moment you stay there, and that staying has to be experimented. It is not that overnight you will change. Out of 10 events in a day, you might forget in 8 events, but at least 2 events you remember. Slowly, slowly, this will change. This will change. And when it changes, a detachment happens naturally. As the attachment happens naturally, the detachment has to happen naturally. The natural detachment happens, yes?
Spontaneous action.
Spontaneous action is the mind's reaction. Is the mind's reaction. Because immediately mind wants to react, want to go into the action. That is what we call spontaneous. But that is not spontaneous actually. Spontaneity is the inner understanding, which has no base of any reasoning. What is spontaneous is having no base of any reasoning. Your actions have always a base of reasoning. You see, you understand? We misunderstand this spontaneity also. If somebody abuses you and you immediately react and become angry on that person, it is a spontaneous anger. It is not a spontaneous anger. It is a reactionary anger. You understand this? Spontaneity is the inner force which comes without any reasoning. It is an inner force, inner clarity. That is a spontaneity. And that has, if someone asks you, why did you do like this? You will say, I don't know, it just happened. This is spontaneity. But if you are angry because somebody abuses you, if somebody asks, why did you become angry? You say, he abused me. Why should I keep quiet? You have a reasoning. Here, maybe you are angry or may not be you are angry. So this is spontaneity. So I was talking to you that this staying with the understanding that you have no freedom to change either outside or inside. Just say yes to it. When you say yes to it, you get detached. You means the consciousness gets detached from that whole identification, whole reaction. And then
of outside as well as
inside. Outside, the challenge, the event happening is demanding your response. But you don't immediately respond to it. Stay with, before, like if you are, Osho used to say that count 11 before you express your anger. Gurdjieff used to say that, tell that person I will answer you tomorrow after 24 hours. Why he used to say? Because that is the moment when you are unconscious. Your consciousness has got so identified with the anger, which is a reaction, that it has become unconscious. The consciousness has to become conscious again.
So acceptance releases consciousness.
Yes, it releases the consciousness from this identification with the reaction. Identification with the reaction is the unconsciousness. The reaction is natural. The identification also is natural. Attachment also is natural. And detachment also has to become natural. You understand the trick of it. How it becomes, if you try to detach, the attachment continues.
The struggle starts.
So this is where the whole spiritual people are creating a mistake. They try to detach it. They try to become witness. They try to just, it is not possible.
There is no more action.
Yeah. So I am just saying that how this natural detachment happens. Just understand and experiment in your life of this acceptance. Do not jump into action immediately with your reaction. That's all. The reaction is natural, the outside action is natural. Understand that it is natural. So do not fight with it, do not run away from it, or do not try to change it, or do not try to control it. Just say yes to it. And then when you say yes to it, suddenly a detachment of this consciousness happens. And then you are aware of that whole mind which is bubbling with anger.
Yes.
Before you were anger, now you are aware of the anger. That is the difference. So that is a detached state. Before it was a doer state, it was wanted to do something and jump into action. Now it is a witnessing state where you are aware of that same mind which is bubbling with anger. And you are staying there. You are aware of the mind, but you are not jumping. You are just aware. In that awareness, a command comes. A command comes from inside. A clarity, a spontaneous force comes from inside, whether to say yes or no. This first comes. Either yes or no. When it yes, then again the consciousness goes back to the area of knowledge to define what is yes or define what is no. If there is no, keep cool. You understand that nothing to express. You keep cool. But you are not keeping cool with all the boiling there. It will settle by itself. Lao Tzu says in these Tao Sutras that let this mud settle by itself. Let this mud settle by itself. Because the whole water has become muddy. Let it settle by itself. Don't do anything about settling this whole reaction. Let it settle by itself. It will settle by itself. It depends upon what is the frequency of the disturbance. It will take few minutes, it will take few hours, or it will take few days. It will settle. But if the life demands you to express, say yes, there is a yes, to express the anger, then this yes, and when you express the anger, you will be playing angry. You will be consciously expressing the anger. Then it will be an act of play. Like Raman Maharshi's example is given by Osho that in one satsang, one Pandit came and he was arguing so much with Raman Maharshi that at certain point, half an hour, he was just trying to prove himself that what he has learned from the scriptures is right and what Raman Maharshi says is wrong. Raman Maharshi used to just explain that this is my understanding and this is what I am sharing with the people. And he was saying that you are speaking something against, and he was trying to prove, and this was going into a debate, very strong debate, and Raman was not interested to go into debate. So at certain point, he was tolerating him and just listening and trying to pacify him that please, just because the other people are sitting, let them talk, I would like to share with them. Maybe you are right, I don't want to go into all debate. And he was not allowing Raman to go into further. So at certain point, he was just looking, and then he took the stick on his hand and got up from his chair, and then he wanted to beat that man, and that man was so afraid, he got up from his chair and ran. And Raman ran after him shouting. Shouting, you get out from here, why you are disturbing us? And people were so amazed. Raman, angry, an enlightened master angry. Everybody was shocked, that how can Raman can be angry, It is very common with the ordinary people, an unconscious people. A conscious person can be angry. And when he was coming back, he was just laughing and relaxed. He was just laughing and relaxed. He came back, sat on his chair as if nothing has happened, and he started sharing with the people. This is the difference. He was playing angry. He was playing angry. There is a difference. At that moment, the impulse came that he was not listening, then this is the answer. Let this stick. And he did it. At that moment, Raman did not think that what will other people will think, that I am an enlightened person, I am a guru here, a master here, and if I run after abusing him or shouting at him, what will people understand? He cares. Who cares? You know, what people say about it. What? Ja, go and see. So this is playing angry. Then whole life becomes a play. When you start living with these impulses, your inner flow, then whole life becomes your expression of love, your expression of hate, your expression of jealousy, your expression of anger. Your whole doing becomes a play. See? But then you are not caught into these reactions. You are so relaxed. Because you are, at that moment, you are following whatever is asking for. You are playing it. Then there is a consciousness which is still there, where you are conscious of the anger. You are consciously expressing anger. There is a difference. But when you express the anger unconsciously, you are not conscious. You become the anger. And sometimes you repent for it. Why do you repent? Afterwards, you repent. Yeah, I should not have said like this. I would not have expressed the anger. Why unnecessarily I just went into all this fight? Why do you repent for it? Then my question is, where were you when you expressed the anger? Where were you? You were not there. That means you are unconscious. You means the consciousness was unconscious. Totally identified with that anger and became anger. While expressing the anger, it was pure anger. Nothing but pure anger. But when you are playing angry, there is no point of repentance. Who cares?
It's
What
beautiful.
about, what,
Beautiful.
what about expectations? You didn't,
There is a nature of mind.
but we watch the expectations and
Yes.
do nothing.
If there is, first thing is the consciousness has to get detached. Expectation also is a kind of reaction. It's a kind of reaction. Somebody who is offering you something in response to your expectations, it is a desire of mind, that is expectation, right? So you have expectations to change something, to get something, isn't it? So these are nothing but the mind's expressions. It is.
So you have to watch.
So first you accept it, that it is the desire or the expectation is coming from that state of mind. At that moment you become the expectation. Because life demands, again I would like to express very clearly that the demand of the life is also to create a mind, also create an ego. Life demands a mind to be there. Life demands an ego to be there. And that mind and ego has to be a functionary ego, functionary mind. It is limited to the response of that challenge. That's all. So we cannot just throw away the mind, because it is a demand from the life itself. But as we have created a permanent mind, which is not a demand of life, and that is the whole problem. Mind means an attachment point. We have created a permanent attachment of the consciousness with that whole knowledge area, and I constantly remain into the recognition of what I am. Only when the functioning is happening, when the outside challenge is demanding your response, and you are into the doing, while you are doing, there is a demand of the life to have a functionary mind, a functionary ego. Functionary mind means a functionary attachment of the consciousness to the knowledge part. You should have the knowledge how to function, isn't it? Otherwise, how will you function? The temporary attachment of the consciousness has to go and get attached to the knowledge part. And when it gets attached to the knowledge part, it also creates an ego as a doer. So there is a functionary ego and there is a functionary mind, so far as the limited of functioning. The function is over, the mind also has to go, and the ego has to go. For the next. So each function creates a different mind. Each function creates a different ego. What is happening is the ego and mind creates the functioning there.
Complicated.
You understand the difference?
Very complicated.
You see?
So the mind creates the expectations.
Yeah. So it creates a doing, a functioning there. We do not look what life is demanding, but we look what mind is desiring.
Well, isn't it like the ego becomes attached to being, so it wants to keep creating something to keep itself alive?
That's what I am saying, that we create a permanent ego, permanent mind, so that we create a permanent change of desires and permanent actions.
But this we is the ego itself doing this.
Pardon?
The ego itself keeps trying to do this, no?
This is what the permanent attachment means. And that's the problem. The acceptance creates a situation where it is liberated from this permanency. And then it becomes a functionary mind, a functionary ego. And then the function is over, it is finished. So this happens naturally. I am not trying to say that you have to do something to drop the permanency of the mind and permanency of the ego.
This is a spiritual ego then.
Yes.
I want to keep creating this.
Maybe a worldly ego or a spiritual ego. So far as you have a desire, maybe a spiritual desire or a worldly desire, it creates a permanent mind, a permanent ego. When you are responding to the needs, the way life is demanding, it is a need. Response to the needs creates a functionary mind and functionary ego. Response to the desire creates a permanent mind, a permanent ego.
But the functionary ego is necessary.
Necessary.
To survive.
Yeah. Otherwise, how can you function? Then you are a dead person. But it should be limited to the functioning. The hunger, you are hungry. So the hunger is a sensation. It is demand from the life. So then it creates a mind to find out the food. Because where will you find the food unless you go to the area of knowledge